Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Early Edge. We are brought to you by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas, and we have a huge show for you today. We've got shows all day today, actually. Champions League today. We've got WNBA playoffs. We got MLB playoffs. We got some college football and a ton of picks on this show. But also at 12:45, if you didn't see the tweets that were going around, we've got a special MLB Wild Card, a little bit of live betting, a little bit of futures. It's going to be me, A-Mags, Snyper, and Mike McClure at 12:45. Let's take a look at the recap screen from the Monday night football night. Let's see, 4-2. Very easily could have been 5-1 here, but we'll take 4-2. Certainly the Dobbins rushing yards, that worked out swimmingly. Dolphins absolutely smashed Chase Brown under rushing yards. That was an awesome pick as well. We will take that all day. And of course, Jets Dolphins go over 44.5 late in that game. Let's bring on the stars of the show because we've got a lot to cover. It feels like Tuesdays where we don't have an NFL game. Like what's going on? It's like high intensity right now. Buckets, we got Champions League. Tom, we've got baseball. You're going to give out a baseball pick, but certainly college football as well. WNBA playoffs with Calvin and Sniper. I got to start with you because MLB playoffs, your Cubs play today. How you feeling?
Pretty good, actually. I mean, obviously, 3-game series, anything can happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Cubs lost, but I think the Cubs are going to win. I think that I'm actually very interested in the Tigers-Guardians series because the Guardians, I played them several times down the stretch against the Tigers. I said the vibes were wretched for the Tigers. The Guardians were riding high with the momentum, but you get to start over in the playoffs. You get a clean slate here. Tarek Skubal on the mound for the Tigers in the first game. I just wonder if the mental weight lifted off the Tigers' chest now with it just being 0-0 and starting over and not worrying about the standings. I wonder if that will make a difference here. They do have a better offense. The Guardians have one of the worst offenses, seriously, in the history of the playoffs. But they have a great pitching staff right now and everything's going well. I'm really, really intrigued for that series, and that starts at 1. So overall, really fun day. I didn't even mention the Yankees and Red Sox, so should be fun.
Well, Jeff Stenberg in the chat took care of that for you. He's very excited. I'm sure he'll be in the chat for our 12:45 show antagonizing A-Mags. But again, that 12:45 show, we're going to have some live betting. We're going to have some betting before that 1 o'clock start. 1:08, I think, is the exact time. So we have some day games to discuss along with some futures. Calvin, I forgot. You're a Cubs fan as well. You're wearing the shirt.
I am. I had to go with the Cubs shirt today for the start of the playoff run. I love that we got 2 Cubs fans on the show and another one producing behind the scenes, putting everyone's Let's Go Cubs comments on the screen. So it's a great day for some playoff baseball.
Buckets, we haven't seen you since the 1-2 skipperoo where you spiked the plus 160 and then the other bet you put out. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. No 1-2 skipperoo today. We're going to keep it classy, keep it easier, frankly, but excited to be here, man.
Tom, you're bringing college football. I actually took a look at the pick you gave out, and I'm not gonna reveal it quite yet. I know you have a baseball pick, you have a college football pick, and I got to tell you, not that this matters really, but I'm totally behind your college football pick. So I can't wait to actually hear your analysis because it'll just further what I want to do with that game. So everybody, stay tuned for that. Let's get it started though. Buckets, start us out with some Champions League. Let's go. You got a few picks here today.
Got 3 plays for everyone today, and we're starting with the 12:45 match between Kairat Almaty taking on Real Madrid. And I have had people tell me all week, Buckets, Real Madrid's going to struggle. They have to fly 20 hours to Kazakhstan. They're going to have jet lag. They're going to be tired. We got to remember, guys, this is Real Madrid. They're not flying Spirit Airline and coached like I am, where you're fighting the lady for the armrest the whole time. This is a squad worth over $6.5 billion. They're going to fly just fine. They're going to be rested, and they are going to be pissed off about the Madrid derby in which they lost 5-2. I am expecting this to be an absolute massacre. Real Madrid should beat them by 4, 5, 6 goals, no problem. So my first bet is over 1.5 goals in the first half. Kairat Almaty are just happy to be here. I have 0 expectations for them. Expect a big win for Real Madrid. Second bet, we're going to the matchup between Galatasaray and Liverpool. We got Arne Slot's men trying to find some consistency against a Galatasaray side who is fantastic only when they play at home. I'm expecting goals here. If you want a ladder, this is the match you want to look at. My best bet is over 3.5 goals at even money plus 100, because if you're going to beat Galatasaray at home, it's going to take more than 2 goals. For our final match, we're going to Atletico Madrid versus Eintracht Frankfurt. Both teams to score in over 2.5 goals. The classic same game game parlay at -115. Atletico Madrid coming off of their biggest win of the season, in which they pumped Real Madrid 5-2 in the big derby. Meanwhile, Frankfurt, if you look at their recent games, they look more like American football scores than they do soccer scores. They just beat Borussia Mönchengladbach 6-4. They lost to Union Berlin 3-4. They beat Galatasaray 5-1. This is a team consistently putting up numbers, and I'm expecting goals in a lot of the fixtures this afternoon, Sia.
All right, we got 3 picks, and we've got some big-time soccer today. I want to move along to, I'm looking at the comments as Buckets was finishing up those 3 takes. Civil One says, I took a little break, had to come back for today. Baseball playoff, WNBA playoffs for the finals, and Champions League. You got to love it. So he brings up, there was somebody else, was it him? There was somebody who brought up Scooble as well, and I'm trying to find where that comment was. But Tom, you've got a college football pick, but start us off with some baseball, because we're going to talk about the Tigers later on in this show, certainly at the 12:45 show as well. Talk to us about your play on Tarek Scooble.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to go over 18.5 outs here at plus money for a couple of reasons. One, Scooble has just dominated this Cleveland lineup. He has an ERA under 1.5 in the last 10 meetings. He's pitched 6+ innings in 4 starts against the Guardians this year, and he's allowed a total of 2 earned runs in those starts. They're batting just 204 and 181 plate appearances against them. But I kind of agree with Snyper here. I don't ever, they falter down the stretch. But again, like Sniper said, this is a brand new season now. It starts over. But if the Tigers are going to win this series, they got to win today with Scooble. So I just can't see them taking him out in the 5th inning. Their bullpen struggled down the stretch. I think he goes as far as he can. They got to go up 1-0 today, or it's lights out, in my opinion.
All right, so we like Tarek Scooble over 18.5 outs at plus 125. So talk to me about TCU, Tom, because I watched that game against Arizona State. I live betted. I had 2 live bets Saturday, and it was I had TCU, unfortunately, but I also had Oregon, so I ended up kind of breaking even there. But I was impressed with TCU until I wasn't, and I'm actually surprised they lost that game. Talk to me about their game against Colorado this week.
Yeah, I know. You texted me and asked who I liked in that game.
That's right. I forgot.
I said I had a slight lean to TCU. But my worry against Arizona State, the reason I didn't make it an official play was Arizona State's very good against the run. And I knew TCU's top receiver was iffy, Eric McAllister, with a hamstring strain. Now, he tried to play. He couldn't go. I don't think he's going to play this week. But the difference is Colorado can't stop the run. That opens up everything for Hoover and that offense. Listen, my thinking on Colorado this year is bet this team on the road. They've played 1 road game. They lost to Houston by 16 in a game that wasn't even that close. I don't see how they stop this TCU offense. I think they get the running game going. That opens up things for Hoover. I expect a big bounce back game for Josh Hoover, probably over 400 yards passing, and take his player prop over, I would, passing yards. But give me a TCU laying under 2 touchdowns at 13.5.
All right, TCU laying basically 2 touchdowns here, minus 13.5. I'm going to be on this play as well, Tom. All right, before we get to a break, I do want to include a little bit more baseball. Of course, we still have Calvin's plays and your questions to get to. I mean, we're going to answer some of your questions on this show, but again, keep in mind at 12:45, we can answer your questions there as well before that first game gets started. Sniper, hit me with a couple of baseball plays today.
Well, let's do that. I'm going to start out west. And while the Reds are a playoff team, and I like Cincinnati, I'm in the BBWA chapter of Cincinnati. I have some friends who are good, big-time Reds fans. They're not a playoff caliber team. They don't really deserve to be here. They're only really here because the Mets are awful and fell apart down the stretch. The Reds only went 33-32 in the second half, so it's not like they had some huge surge. The Mets just gave them the wild card. And the Dodgers, by the way, I mentioned in the chat earlier, somebody said, I can't believe the Dodgers are a wild card team. And I said, I've got some stuff on the Dodgers. I just wonder if they were kind of on cruise control for most of the season because the regular season doesn't matter to them. I do think that's playing with fire, but mentally there might have been a little bit of that for them. They locked it in here at the end. They won 15 of their last 20. the Dodgers are just on a different level than the Reds. I'm going to go with the Dodgers on the run line. Look, Blake Snell nails down the stretch. He's been amazing at home. The Reds only hit 229 with a 353 slugging against left-handed pitchers. The only time they saw Snell last year, he completely dominated them. On the other side for the Reds, Hunter Green. I can see why people would say Green might go out and deal, and he might, but he has a 4.81 road ERA this season. He pitched in Dodger Stadium on August 25th, and he allowed 5 runs in 5 innings. And the Dodgers swept that series, by the way, outscoring the Reds 18-4. I think we're going to see something pretty similar here. I think the Dodgers are just going to steamroll the Reds, and it'll be a nice trip for the Reds to get back to the postseason, but they're just not on the Dodgers level. The other one, a certain someone in the chat's not going to be happy about this, but I'm going to go Aaron Judge over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. So here's the thing. If you can get 1.5 on this play for Judge instead of 2.5, I'm always going to jump on it, because if you looked at this prop during the regular season, hits plus runs plus RBI, he averaged 2.83 a game, and we only have to get over 1.5 here. So that's a plus. Secondly, I know it's against Garrett Crochet. That's why we get 1.5. And Crochet has struck out Judge a ton of times this year. They've also seen each other a bunch, and Judge has 2 home runs. The last time they faced each other, the last plate appearance, Judge hit a home run. Not necessarily saying he's going to hit a home run against Crochet today, but I only need over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, and Judge piles up the stats in all 3 of those categories. So I'm going to play the numbers here and go with Judge over 1.5.
All right. Aaron Judge over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, -117. Buckets, go ahead. Do you have a baseball play? Or maybe
You're muted.
There we go. I got a question for Sniper. Do you have any interest in a showdown on that Dodgers run line bet by chance?
Yes.
All right. That's 1.5, baby. Let's do it.
You should have been like, oh, wait, let me think about that for a second. Yes. That
It's gonna be a showdown.
you love to see it. Oh, you don't want Sniper with his bat, Buckets. That screams confidence.
I only know like 4 baseball players, and 3 of them are Reds, so I got to kind of back him a little bit here.
I've got the Sheffield waggle going now. So
Hey Tom, who covers this one? Who wins this showdown? We're talking Dodgers run line. Is it Buckets or is it Sniper?
Yeah, well, I have to agree with Sniper here. I bet the Reds to make the playoffs. So my association with the Reds is now over. They snuck in. I hit that bet. Yeah, listen, I think the problem with the Reds is going to be scoring runs in this series. That's as long as the Dodgers score, 3-4 runs a game here, I think they're going to be fine. So I got to lean Dodgers.
All right. We got some comments in the chat, a lot of questions as well. And it's Amelia Ford or Emila Ford says Machado home run. Can we look at the home run chart? Listen, it's, we're not going to have 3 home run plays every day anymore because we've got limited games, but we do have a play from the Inside the Lines crew, and it's Manny Machado. Plus 345 says the Inside the Lines crew, but the real odds plus 485. Sniper, any commentary here against your Cubs?
that's interesting because when I looked last night, the wind was supposed to be blowing in about 10 to 13 miles per hour through the game. So I just kind of avoided any home run looks at that ever since then. Matthew Boyd on the mound for the Cubs, left-hander. Manny Machado swings right-handed. Boyd has not been very good in the last 2 months at all. He kind of hit a wall after the All-Star game. So if the weather conditions eased up a little bit, you can definitely see a path here for this one to come into play.
All right. The next picks we're going to get to are Calvin's WNBA picks, and it's probably a good time to let you know that BetMGM players will receive in any sport parlay boost. You can use it on WNBA, MLB, Champions League, whatever you want. To use the boost, add a parlay wager made up of any sport wagers to activate the token. If you win your wager that was made with the token, you will receive extra winnings. Again, and BetMGM players will receive in any sport parlay boost token. All right, before we get to the SportsLine picks, I want to get to WNBA. We'll cover all of that right after this message from our partners.
Saturday kicks off at noon. Then it's big time. First, Air Force and Navy face off in Annapolis. Then it's big time at the Rose Bowl when UCLA hosts Penn State.
We're back on the early edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Steve Folkerts with a weather update. He says blowing in, to Sniper's credit. That's correct, but only about 8 miles per hour, says Steve Folkerts. So maybe we keep an eye on that. But
he could pierce through that. It needs to not be a high fly ball. But yeah, it's doable.
All right. Thanks for the update, Steve. Let's get to some WNBA. Obviously, Calvin, you're rooting for the Cubs today. So we know that. So we're checking that box. But we got WNBA playoffs to talk about, and you've got a couple of picks.
Yeah, we have a winner-take-all game 5 in the semis. Either the Aces or the Fever are going to punch a ticket to the finals to face the Mercury. So huge game. And I know a lot of people like to bet the side and total in these games. So I do lean towards Aces and under if you want to do that. But I think those are a little bit sharper. So I'm going to a couple other plays. Going to start with Fever score first. You guys know I love these score first plays. And it's always all about the jump ball. It's minus 114 both ways on FanDuel, so it's a pick 'em. And yeah, so Asia Wilson is 51% on jump balls. Aaliyah Boston 53%. Boston's slightly better, but the Aces are home in the better team. So in theory, pick 'em would make sense. But Becky Hammon for the Aces, after using Asia Wilson all season to take the jump ball, last few games of the series has been using Nalissa Smith, and I don't think they've adjusted these odds for it. I don't know why she's using Nalissa Smith, but she is now, and Nalissa Smith only wins 34% of her jump balls. So I think that if they're giving us pick 'em, there's an edge on the Fever here to score first at minus 114. I would have it closer to minus 130. And then I'm also going with Asia Wilson under 2.5 assists, minus 110. In the playoffs, she becomes more of a scorer, which means less of a passer. This season, her assists per 40, regular season 4, playoffs 3. Over her career, it goes from 3 to 2.5. Her assist rate this season's down from 20% in the regular season to 15% in the playoffs, from 14% to 11.5 over her career. All 3 regular season matchups against the Fever, she was also under this, and 7 total matchups now. She's averaging exactly 2.0, and we're getting regular juice on 2.5. I think that should be way juiced under, closer to minus 150. So some books are minus 110 is the best I see, but some books are more like minus 120. I would still play that as well for Asia Wilson under 2.5 assists.
Can I ask you a question about the Indiana Fever? And forgive me for the ignorance of this, but we know Caitlin Clark has not been playing pretty much this whole season. I think most people, I don't know, most people, maybe not you, Calvin, thought, okay, the Fever are probably going to miss the playoffs and they're not going to be super competitive if they get into the playoffs. How do you explain this? Because, you know, from the layperson who watches WNBA, but perhaps watches it more casually than you, says, okay, Caitlin Clark's out. She's one of the best players in the WNBA. The Fever are basically toast. Why are they surviving like this?
Yeah, well, I thought they were toast too. I mean, I wasn't surprised they got in, but the fact that they advanced in the first round and now are playing a game 5, have one win to get to the finals, I did not see them getting here. But you really have to credit Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston. They have no depth. They have some other injuries too outside of Caitlin Clark, but those two have stepped up huge. Kelsey Mitchell averaging over 20 points per game in the playoffs, one of the highest playoff per game averages all time if she keeps it up. And Aaliyah Boston already has 3 different 10 rebound, 5 assist games. She's been doing everything for them, and she stepped up as a scorer in the last game as well. So they've had a lot of depth issues. They've relied on their starters a lot and their other 2 all-stars a lot, but they've been carrying them so far, and it's remarkable that they're still here.
Last question. Going into next year, we presume, of course, that all of these players are going to be healthy going into next season, and we hope that they're going to stay healthy. Again, do I just say the Fever now have Caitlin Clark, and they're not as banged up? Like, let me put a future on the Fever. Like, is their future as bright as I might think it is?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because a lot of players are free agents next year with the upcoming collective bargaining agreement. So Kelsey Mitchell's a free agent, some of their other players, but they'll still have Aaliyah Boston for 1 more year, Caitlin Clark for 2 more years because they're both on rookie deals. So right away, you're starting with a great foundation, and you're probably going to be a free agent destination if you have those 2 and are set up to win. So yeah, I do think they're really set up for 2026.
All right. Always looking ahead. All right. So there's a lot of questions, including soccer questions, maybe some football and baseball, but let's get to the SportsLine picks. And then Sniper, I don't need you to react to all of these, but if there's one that you want to pull out and say, hey, I really like this, or maybe stay away from this. And Tom, you can chime in here as well. We've got Gavin Williams over 14.5 ounce at minus 139. I mean, that's from A-Mags and Matt Severance, and that one makes a lot of sense to me. Cleveland Guardians money line plus 140. I think that's very interesting. I also think the Guardians first 5 plus a half is probably a pretty good number. Anyway, that Guardians money line plus 140. Bruce Marshall and AMAG support that one there. And then the Chicago Cubs money line minus 114 from Micah Roberts. Sniper, I'll go to you first. Any of these stick out to you?
Yeah, the quick hits on all three. I like the Gavin Williams thing, and actually said in the chat, I did not get a chance to look because remember, I've been writing a ton of preview content as well, so sorry. But I was assuming the first 5 total in that Guardians-Tigers game might be something like 1.5 because I think Williams and Skubal are both going to absolutely deal. So I love that Williams one. Guardians money line, I don't know. I just have a gut feeling the Tigers are going to figure something out at least in this game. And then Cubs money line, I like that. A key in the Cubs Padres series, and we can talk more about this later today, is going to be the Cubs getting to the Padres starting pitchers in the first 4 or 5 innings before the Padres get into that dominant bullpen.
Fair enough. Tom, any reaction to any of these 3 picks?
Yeah, I agree pretty much with everything Sniper said. I took Skubal, but I think that's going to be a pitcher's duel. It almost always is when those two are on the mound against each other in that series. I don't have a strong lean either way with it in the game, but I do think Gavin Williams will go over that 14.5 outs.
Yeah, I'm going to look up that first 5 plus a half and see what kind of number I get. Let's get to some soccer, then to some baseball questions, and we'll close the show after that. Buckets, greatest poet alive, says, would it be pushing it to take over 2.5 first half for Real Madrid?
I don't think so at all. I know a lot of people are concerned about this game. I realistically would not be shocked if we saw like a 5-1, 6-1, 6-0 kind of scoreline. I think the handicap at minus 2.5 is a gift as well. Currently, that's the spread, 2.5. I just would bet everything Real Madrid here. They have to respond after losing to Atleti, and this is like the perfect toss-up imaginable after that game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Ray Garcia says, Buckets, same play for the Liverpool game. Both teams to score over 2.5.
Absolutely. I love everything about goals in Liverpool. I like the over in the first half. I am actually sprinkling both teams to score in the first half. It's plus 250 as well. I really do think we're going to see a lot of goals in a lot of these games today.
Jeff Stenberg says, Buckets, how much do you love Bristol City team total over 1.5 at plus 150? Feels like a good number for the home team.
Jeff Stenberg is the only person in the world that when there's Champions League football in, he's looking at the lower EFL leagues. I do like it, and I like it because I don't think a lot of people are looking at these matches at all. That's a soft line that should be closer to even money. So at plus 150, I think it's a great shout, Jeff.
I've got one last clarification question from Dominic D, but I do want to mention Zach Kasenki says, Sia, Matt Wallace is getting plus 160 this weekend as a top 20. Is that the lock of the century? No, probably not. I think the top 20 market is you want to be really careful at the Sanderson Farms because I think there's a lot of randomness and variance in this particular tournament, especially for anybody who gets hot with the putter. I'm actually probably not going to be touching that top 20 market at all. Maybe the top 40 market with somebody I'm comfortable with. I do want to tell everybody the early wedge, it's going to be Rick Gaiman, Patrick McDonald, and Jason Sobel tonight at 7 o'clock. My picks will be on that show, but I'll be traveling down to South Florida, so I won't be able to be on that show. You'll see my picks, my outrights, my first round leaders, any matchups I like. But again, tonight, 7 o'clock, the Sanderson Farms preview with a heavy hitter lineup, Rick Gaiman, Jason Sobel, and Patrick McDonald on this SportsLine YouTube channel. Check it out at 7 and make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Last question for you, Buckets. Oh, shoot. Where is it? There it is. Dominic D. Real Madrid play for total goals, or is that Real goals? Your play, was it for total goals? Or
my play was for total, just in case we do see some wacky home field own goal, something crazy. If you want to take Real Madrid first half, 1.5 team total, that does get you to plus 110, and I don't hate that at all either.
Okay, and I lied. One more question from Dominic D. Buckets, any thoughts on Ajax versus Marseille, both teams to score?
I don't like it. I think Ajax might be one of the only teams that don't score today. They're one of those teams that usually are just good at home, but even at home, they're not looking fantastic. And Marseille have a deep back line when they need to. That could be the lowest scoring game of the day. I'm looking at like 1-0, maybe 2-0 there.
All right, let's transition to MLB before we get to our recap screen. Sean Ritchie asks, Sniper, I'll go to you here. Will the Reds win one game against the Dodgers?
No, I've got that one as a sweep. But again, it's a 3-game series and anything can happen and fluky stuff does happen. Remember, just a few years ago, we saw the Dodgers with 111 wins lose to the Padres. We saw the Dodgers the next year with over 100 wins lose all 3 games against the Diamondbacks, only won 84. So fluky stuff can happen, but the smart money is on the Dodgers just winning 2 games and advancing to what will be an amazing NLDS against the Phillies.
And just to be clear, these wild card rounds are 3-game series.
3 games, yeah, all in the same stadium, just three days in a row.
All right. K Burnout says Sox Yankees first 5 over 3.5 runs. Sniper.
I'm inclined to say no. Freed versus Crochet, playoff baseball. It seems like they'll throw well, but I mean, you could totally see a scenario where at least one of those teams got the offense going. That's a tough one. I would stay away from it.
This one's interesting. I think I understand the terminology here. John says, Sniper, do you like Scooble to go 3 up, 3 down in the first inning?
Yeah,
at plus 100.
I agreed. I thought it was really, I think I said intriguing, not interesting, but we're on the same page there. Probably, yeah. I mean, you've got to deal with Jose Ramirez in the first inning. That's always tough, but I think 3 up, 3 down is more likely than not.
Aaron Taylor says, speaking of Ramirez, he says Cleveland team total over 2.5 is plus 105, and he says Ramirez gets to Scooble. Thoughts?
I'm inclined to go under. I think it's going to be really low scoring, and I like I said earlier, I think I kind of have a gut feeling the Tigers are going to grab one.
Yeah, again, I'm going to take a look at that first 5. I'm looking at it right now, and I'll get back to you on that plus a half, see what it pays. Let's go to WNBA real quick. Joe Neuenfeld says, Calvin, are the Mercury the dirtiest team in WNBA history?
I don't think so. I mean, they're kind of getting that bad rap because of that high-profile play the other day where Nafisa Collier got hurt. And, I mean, it was really unfortunate play. I don't think it was a dirty play. I think it was a good steal, and they just banged knees, and it was incidental. And I haven't seen a lot else dirty from them besides that, so I don't think so.
Do you have any thoughts, Sniper, on, because I just found the number. I'm only looking at one book. It's probably minus 110, minus 115, pretty much everywhere. But it's the first 5 plus a half for the Guardians at minus 110.
I don't like that. I think the Tigers are in, like I said, probably just a gut feeling, but I'm just kind of feeling Tigers vibes today.
I got you. Martez Denny says Gavin Williams over 5.5 Ks.
Yeah, he'll get there. He's dominated. He's missed a lot of bats, and the Tigers have some strikeout heavy guys. I mean, you're talking about Riley Green, Javier Baez. Like, they will swing and miss plenty.
And let's do one more question from Wu-Tang 416. What do you think of Blake Snell over 15.5 outs? I assume that is at plus 125.
I was going to mention, there were several questions about this in the chat. Gut feeling is he probably gets over that, but I am always going to stay away from Dodgers out totals with Dave Roberts in the playoffs because he's liable to pull a guy after like 3 1/3 innings or something at any sign of trouble. He's so aggressive with the starting pitchers in terms of either leaving them in or taking them out on a day-to-day basis. It seems to change. The front office is very involved in how they set things up. So I don't want any piece of Dodgers out totals on pitchers.
All right. Buckets, was there any other questions in the chat or comments that you needed to address?
There's a couple that we want to address. People asking about the Paphos versus Bayern Munich game. Bayern Munich have been one of the most offensively consistent teams on the planet right now. And even if they play their backups, they're winning that game by 4 or more goals. So just, again, anything with the over. If Kane starts, Kane first goal scorer is fun. Michael Elise to score assist kind of lines are all good. And then last question I saw was, how do you bet on Chelsea Benfica? Trick question, you don't. I have no clue how that game's going to play up. Jose Mourinho coming in for Benfica means this team might score 3. They might score nothing. Chelsea has way too many injuries. That's the one game that I am not touching today.
Tom, I want to squeeze one more play out of you, and here's how it goes. Most people know that on Monday, we do a very intensive Monday Night Football show on CBS Sports Network, which does get put on the SportsLine YouTube channel. But the last segment of that show is you and Emery Hunt. We're doing FCS and Group of 5, basically early looks, early plays, early potential upsets. That's also on the SportsLine YouTube channel. That gets cut up and put there. And I think I know that's a super popular segment. A lot of people watch it. But is there a Group of 5 FCS game that people should have their eye on in terms of the line and the line potentially moving?
Yeah, I would look at that Army UAB game. Army is a 7.5 point favorite on the road. They have no business being a road favorite of that significance. And I know UAB isn't that good, but the one advantage UAB has is they played Navy earlier in the season. So they already had to prepare for that kind of offense, and UAB can score some points. I think that could be kind of a wild game. I know Army hasn't scored a lot yet, but UAB's defense is pretty bad. So you could be looking at a 34-31 game. So I lean UAB in the over there.
All right, looks like that line's already coming down a bit because it's at 7 now here at BetMGM. So we certainly like it at 7. All right, I know there's more baseball questions, at least a few more, but we're going to save that. We're going to save that for the 12:45 show. Again, at 12:45 on this SportsLine YouTube channel, we're going to be talking live bets because we'll have games coming up, but we're certainly going to be talking about futures and really anything you want to talk about. We'll probably go at least 45 minutes. It'll be me really not dishing out any information, just kind of hosting and moderating. Snyper, Mike McClure, and Amags. You're not going to want to miss that. And don't forget the early wedge tonight at 7 o'clock with Rick, Jason Sobel, and Patrick McDonald covering best bets for the Sanderson Farms, and they'll do some Q&A with you as well. All right, let's get to the recap screen before we get you all out of here. We've got a lot of picks for a Tuesday. Dodgers run line plus 114, says Sniper. And Aaron Judge over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs at minus 117. Fever to score first at minus 114. Quick cash. And Asia Wilson under 2.5 assists at minus 110. Of course, those from Calvin Wetzel, Cubs fan. We've got, I wasn't listening to the pronunciations, Buckets. Here we go.
You got this. You got this.
Carrot Almady. Karat Almady.
Keep going. Keep going. You got this.
Versus Real Madrid over 1.5 goals first half, minus 120. Galatasaray versus Liverpool over 3.5 goals at even money. And Atletico Madrid versus Frankfurt, both teams to score plus over 2.5 goals, minus 115. I hate it when it's the first one that's like the harder one. I want it to be the last one so I can be like, I got them all right until the end there. TCU minus 13.5 at minus 115, says Tom Casale. He also likes Tarek Skubal over 18.5 outs at plus 125. SportsLine picks Gavin Williams over 14.5 outs at minus 139. That's liked by Matt Severance and Amags. Amags likes this one too with Bruce Marshall. Cleveland Guardians money line plus 140. And then we got the Chicago Cubs money line minus 114, which certainly Sniper and Calvin love to see that. But that pick is from Micah Roberts over at SportsLine. The Inside the Lines crew, SportsLine model says Manny Machado has some home run value, plus 345, says the crew, but the real odds close to plus 500 at plus 485. Jeff Stenberg says, let's make Amags cry. I mean, all the Yankees hate. We'll see you, Jeff, at 12:45. Always appreciate you being in here. Aaron Bailey, Jay Metz, Brad Morris, Steve Folkerts, Chris Kish. See you all in here, and we appreciate everybody being in here every day, hitting the like button and all of those things. Sniper's got his bat. That means he's gearing up for the 12:45 show. Buckets, Tom, Calvin, Sniper, Ben on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. Thank you for everything. We'll see you in a couple of hours. For now, we rest our case.